Everybody take a deep breath. From the West Virginia Department of Transportation's Communications Office, this is WV on the Dot, a bi-monthly informational program highlighting the people, planning, and progress that keep our state moving. Each episode takes you behind the scenes of West Virginia's transportation network, from highways and bridges to transit, rail, and aviation. Thanks for joining us. Hey, welcome to WV on the Dot, the new reimagined podcast from the West Virginia Department of Transportation and the Communications Office. I'm Brent Walker, and with me is...
I'm Rusty Marks.
And he's Rusty Marks. And we're glad you could join us. You know, it's interesting that this show wants to pull back the curtain on all things West Virginia Department of Transportation. And so we're excited that you guys have chosen to listen, to watch. There are all sorts of other ways. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Apple. Did I miss anything?
No. I'm just remembering I pulled back a curtain once and it didn't end well.
Well, we'd like to show a little behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought I was doing.
Well, you made a nice recovery.
I showed a little more behind the scenes than I intended to. It was
that's a good story, I'm sure, for another time. Well, we've got a pretty full show, I think. We're lucky to have the Secretary of Transportation, Todd Rumbaugh. He prefers to be called Todd, and you'll hear from him a little bit later.
Great guy.
A great guy. Has really changed the culture in the West Virginia Department of Transportation.
And he ties his ties.
And he ties his own bow ties. Yeah, he's doing a great job. And then we'll get into some of our segments. I know Luke Creasy will be doing an Around the Dot, where we go around the state, as he always does. And, of course, that one segment that we're just hearing from everybody about.
Don't read the comments.
Don't read the comments. And
trust us.
We'll read them for you. Some are great, some aren't so great, but we encourage them nevertheless. So you're listening to WV on the Dot. When we get back, we're going to bring in our first guest, and what do you say? Let's get started with the show.
Oh, we got nothing better to do. Why not?
Let's do it. Okay, well, thank everyone for continuing to stay with us on WV on the Dot. We thought it was important to let everyone hear from our humble and honorary Secretary of Transportation, Todd Rumbaugh. Everybody knows him as Todd at least, but welcome to WV on the Dot, Secretary Rumbaugh.
Well, thank you for having me here today. It's actually a good honor to be on here.
Well, good. Yeah, as I said, it's reimagined, and we couldn't think of a better real first guest than you, Mr. Secretary. Hey, what a year it's been, huh?
It's been an incredible year. Sometimes the year has felt like 10. At other times, it's felt like a day. Doing this job has been a great honor and privilege. There are some folks that probably would have bet I wouldn't last a year, and there are others that would probably think I'll be here forever. Sorry, that's not happening. But
pay up, Rusty.
Yeah, come on. I want my cut. But, yeah, it's been a really good year. We've had a lot and seen a lot. We started out the year last year with snowstorms, flooding, and then more snowstorms, and then more flooding. I really thought I was cursed when we first started out, but, it all came together, and I can't take credit for any of it. It is the good people here that work for the DOT. We have, as I've said, the best folks in the world, and they stepped up, did their jobs. They make my life 10 times easier, and without them, I would not be sitting here. And so I thank all of them. It's a big thanks from me to them and the public, for allowing us to do our job, and they do a wonderful job, our folks do.
Well, you're being mighty humble, because I will tell you there's been a real culture shift here, and you're responsible for that, Mr. Secretary. And I don't say that lightly.
Hold on, stop right there. Quit with the Mr. Secretary. As I tell everyone, I am Todd. While I understand that people, like to address me as Mr. Secretary, but I am just a normal guy like everybody else, and I am Todd. So, and will always be Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary Todd. But this change in culture is really it's yours. You should own it because it's been a positive thing. You can feel it. It's palpable around the department, and people notice it. Don't you think, Rusty?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
And it's wherever we are. I think people have smiles on their face. It's a fun place to work, and you've made it that way. We certainly work hard, and you've recognized that, and they appreciate that. But a lot of that credit goes to you. I know you deflect that, but we'll just end it there. How about as we look forward to this year, 2026? We had a couple of bills in the legislature, although at the time of this taping, this broadcast, the legislature is still in town. But what were some of the things that we really wanted to see focused on?
Well, the first thing that we focused on, and it's something that I always focus on, is safety. Safety is very important to me. I think that, making sure that our folks get home safe every day after all the hard work they perform it's important that they go home, be with their families. And so safety led to the first bill, and it was asking for us to be allowed to use flashing green lights. There have been studies in other states, and some other states have been using them. Flashing green lights on our equipment and being allowed to use those distinguish them from the amber lights that we have out there now. You drive through a construction site, you see orange drums, orange barrels, the orange cones, the signs are orange, they have amber lights on them flashing, and you have amber lights on the equipment. And it sort of all blends in together. It's hard to see. That's part of the reason that most of our maintenance guys, they all wear the green vest that makes them stand out different from the orange barrel. So the going to a green flashing light will make their equipment stand out that much more and make it much more visible, so that hopefully the public will recognize when they see those green flashing lights, they need to slow down. Somebody is physically out there, right there, performing work. So they do need to obey those speed zones.
I think people have gotten complacent also. They're just so used to seeing the yellow lights, they don't even pay attention to them anymore. I think the green lights are really going to get people's attention.
Well, and I'll say, too, our contractor partners, and Jason Pizzatel at the Contractors Association, it was an important bill for them. We know where you stand on work zone safety. We have that coming up in April. Boy, it just seems like it was yesterday we were standing out on the Capitol complex and everybody wearing orange. And so we're looking forward to that. We know how important safety is to you.
Yeah, it always is, always will be. My years I spent out in the field, out there next to traffic, it really makes you understand what goes on and how important it is to make sure everybody gets home safe.
Well, and sadly, we've lost some good people, both in our the Department of Transportation family, but also in the contracting partner family, and so all the more reason. And we in the communications office, I will tell you, we talk about that every day, and we talk about ways. Sometimes we have to get more creative than others, but we're always talking about how to draw attention to the need to drive undistracted and with your seatbelt on and head on a swivel.
Yeah, it's always difficult to get folks to put their cell phones down. It doesn't matter how many times you tell them. As you drive down the road, you can glance to the left or to the right, depending on where you're at, and that phone is out and they're looking at it. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and it's very dangerous, and I would wish they would put it down and just drive.
Well, and they know it's wrong because you always see it below the steering wheel, because if they didn't care, the smartest thing to do would be to at least put it up in front of the dashboard. So they know it's wrong. We all have done it at one point or another, but those that are in the transportation world know better. And again, it can happen in an instant, and sadly, we've lost people as a result of distracted driving. But we're going to stay on it, and we're going to highlight that and draw major attention to that in April. But as I've heard you say, we don't do that just for a week or an hour or a day. It's every day.
Amen. Safety is every day and should be every day, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd quit hitting our plows.
I think we've lost 18 pieces of equipment this SRIC season.
And most of it isn't even our fault.
It's 100% preventable. Well, Todd, we appreciate you coming in on our podcast, WV on the Dot. I think you've agreed to hang out just a bit because we have a special segment that you have graciously agreed to be part of. And so we appreciate you sitting in for a bit, but for now, we'll be right back on WV on the Dot. Don't read the comments.
Welcome back to WV on the Dot. This is one of my favorite segments coming up. It's called Don't Read the Comments. Now, we love our followers, we really do, but let's be honest, when you give people, thousands of people, a direct line to the Department of Transportation, things can get a little interesting. So we're back with some more comments this week, where the feedback ranges from wholesome to historical even. And we'll start there. First up, we have Vicky Tolley, who has done some deep dive research into infrastructure, in particular potholes, which I know all of us have seen, driven over, felt, lamented, all of the above. But, sometimes it's oddly comforting to know that even Sheriff Andy Taylor had to deal with a bumpy ride in his day. This was the throwback photo that we posted up there. This comment appeared under that. Hey, they had potholes in Mayberry, too.
That's right. And that was an older picture. It was also a throwback on our social media. Todd, that's not a current road in West Virginia, is it?
I would be safe to say, I think, that we don't have any roads that are quite that bad at this time. I think our guys do a much better job and keep things. While there may be a few potholes here and there, I would love to think that there is nothing out there that meets that level.
Listen, I could win an Andy Griffith trivia contest. I watch Andy Griffith.
Brent, that's part of the reason I picked this comment. Yeah. I knew you were such a big fan.
I appreciate that.
Hey, always looking out.
Well, we appreciate Miss Vicky's comment, too, on potholes. And whether it was snarky or not, it's absolutely true. They did have potholes back in the day.
They did. And so we'll move on, and this one comes with a video. And under this video of more Cold Patch, sticking with the theme of potholes, Dune King says it's embarrassing that despite taxes and technology, the WVDOT is fixing potholes like caveman, singular, not plural. Of course, referring to our method of mitigating potholes with Cold Patch through the colder months when asphalt plants are closed. And guys, there's really no other way to shovel asphalt into a hole. I mean, it's a physical job.
It's a very rough job, and while it gets done, they fill the holes, and it's just temporary, folks. I mean, it's not a permanent patch. It is Cold Patch, and it's called Cold Patch for a reason. It's done in the cold, and it is cold. If you don't have anything hot that time of year, that's what we have to use. And
I do got to admit, though, that whacking that stuff with those shovels is maybe a little Flintstones.
And you know what? The more things change, the more they stay the same. But we've never suggested that it is anything but. It is just really that simple, isn't it? There's not quite the binding agent. We're not heating it up. We're not squaring off the holes. This is what we have to do. As Todd said, this is a Band-Aid and a temporary fix until warmer weather can open up those asphalt plants. So he's not wrong. Now the caveman thing, I mean, I don't know.
Takes more than one of us for sure.
But he's not wrong about the process.
Yeah.
cavemen did use hand tools.
So. They didn't have access to some higher level modern tech.
There were no jackhammers back.
Which brings us to our next point. We've had some fun on our social media pages showing some of the older equipment that's in our fleet at DOT, anywhere from retired Army tankers to snow blowers, and this one, a picture taken in 1978 in Barber County. Nice dump truck there. I assume that was probably one of the ones with the yellow cab and the blue hood on it. An iconic look for sure, and Grady Balford recalls the good old days of driving some of those trucks, and he had a fun story, and I'm just going to read his comment verbatim. It says, driven many of those. The spreader had a gasoline engine that your shotgun rider had to hang out the window to pull the throttle, and there was a pump in the floorboard where you had to pump up the plow by hand. It got kind of rough. Now, I'm picturing some acrobatics and stuff like that. It's certainly not that difficult today as far as the technology goes. But, guys, what do you think about that one?
Well, I think the secretary is nodding in agreement there. I bet he's driven one of these things.
I actually learned to drive a dump truck, and it was an older model like that. It may have been older than that, but that's what I learned to drive on to start with.
You know, there are a lot of people that have commented that they wish that kind of equipment was still in place because it'll get the job done.
They don't make them like they used to.
I don't know that I'd want to hang out the window
That
and
would
play
be
with the gas motor.
a little too cold, I would say.
It's good though, and we love those vintage.
I'd have to grow my beard back if I had to do that.
You know, I never got to see you with the beard, Todd. I came here too late.
There's probably
There are pictures. There are pictures. Another podcast.
That'll be a throwback Thursday for another week. And we're going to finish up today with Terry Goff Jr. And I don't know if he accidentally hit the caps lock button or if he meant to do it. This came on a post about a piece of our equipment, a plow truck, up in District 6 that had gotten struck not once but twice in an accident that was, as you see the badge there, 100% preventable. So we had explained that this plow had gotten struck twice, and the profound circular logic of winter weather appears here in this comment, and it's hard to argue with the point he's making, but it's also a bit like saying the water is wet or it would have been dry. Because this comment, in all caps, and I won't scream it at you, but the road was slick or it would be clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why there was a snowplow on it. Just,
Yeah.
throwing that out there.
But a little bit behind that is that I know that this most recent storm has really caused some havoc on some of these secondary roads. I mean, you get the rain, you get these flash freezes, and you get ice on it. Now, I think what, though, is interesting about that particular picture, and, I mean, the comment speaks for itself, and it is hilarious. But the picture, not so funny, because it got hit twice. I think that person actually our driver was actually hurt. She was later cleared and to return to work. But a lot of people don't realize that when one of our trucks goes down, it's taken offline. And so the road that it was going to clear all of a sudden doesn't get cleared because we've got man down.
Yeah, it's not like we have a whole fleet of extra plows out there sitting on the sidelines, and we can just, when we lose one, we can just, hey, off the bench, get in here,
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
When one's down, we have to delay treating road somewhere until we can get one complete and someone back out to it. So it really hurts when we lose equipment.
But we do appreciate the obvious.
Sometimes you just need to hear it straight, right? That's right. Well, that will do it for this segment of Don't Read the Comments. If you have seen a comment that made you do a double take, or if you want to leave one of your own for us to potentially roast next week, go ahead and find us on social media. We'll throw those handles up there at the end of the show. Just remember, we are watching, and we might just bring your thoughts to the microphones. But until next time, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and for heaven's sake, don't read the comments.
If these microphones weren't on, they'd be off. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, all of this could be written into a great song. Mr. Secretary Todd Rumbaugh, thank you for joining us on WV on the Dot, and thank you for hanging around as we, for our special segment, Don't Read the Comments. We'll be right back on WV on the Dot.
Welcome to Around the Dot. I'm your host, Luke Creasy, and this is your official update on all things transportation across the Mountain State. From major infrastructure improvements to local road work, we're keeping you informed on how the West Virginia Department of Transportation is working to keep the state moving forward. Now, first up on the route today, we're focusing on the very heart of the Kanawha Valley. If you live or work in or around Charleston, you know that bridges aren't just infrastructure. They're the lifeblood of the daily commute. And to keep that lifeblood pumping, the WVDOT has officially launched the Charleston Metro Project's infrastructure program. Now, this is a massive coordinated effort focusing on the rehabilitation and replacement of more than 50 bridges across the metro area. Now, we know what you're thinking. 50 projects in one city? What about my commute? That's exactly why the DOT just went live with a brand new dedicated website. If you head to the website below, you'll find an interactive map that shows you exactly where the work is happening. And you can see real-time construction schedules, anticipated timelines, and most importantly, detailed traffic management plans
and detours. Secretary Todd Rumball, who you just heard from on the show, noted that this level of activity requires a little bit of extra patience from all of us, but the new website is going to be your best tool to stay ahead of the orange cones. Whether it's deck overlays on I-77 or major work coming to the Eugene A. Carter Memorial Bridge, the goal here is transparency. So before you head out the door, check the site, plan your route, and remember to slow down and stay alert when you see our crews out there on the road. Now, before we move on to our next project update, I want to take a moment to pull over and recognize the incredible team that's been keeping us on the road throughout these recent rounds of winter weather. Yeah, we're talking about our snow removal and ice control operations. Now, when that forecast turns white and the rest of the state is hunkered down, these crews are just getting started. It's a 24/7, round-the-clock grind that starts long before the first flake ever hits the pavement, and it doesn't end until every lane is clear. Whether it's the drivers behind the plows, the mechanics working to keep the fleet running in sub-zero temps, or the dispatchers coordinating the salt runs, the effort has been nothing short of tireless. And we've seen some challenging conditions across the districts lately, but because of their dedication, West Virginians were able to get to work, get to the store, and most importantly, get back home safely. Now, to every single person out there who made it happen, we see the long hours, we see the late nights, and we truly appreciate the grit it takes to keep West Virginia on the road. So from all of us here and the drivers across the state, thank you for a job well done. And finally, today, we're heading down to Lincoln County for a project that is as much about modern technology as it is about relief for a community. And for over a year, residents in the Left Fork area of Lincoln County have had to find the long way around after a bridge was taken out of service after a routine bridge inspection. But the wait is nearly over, and we're using a cutting-edge solution to get it done. Now, this month, the WVDOT is installing an N-Quick bridge. Now, if you haven't heard that name yet, you will soon. It's only the second time this technology has been used in West Virginia. With the N-Quick system, the steel formwork is prefabricated, then filled with concrete on site. It's faster to install, lasts longer, and requires much less maintenance over its lifespan. But for the folks of Lincoln County who have been without this crossing for several months, the tech is secondary to the result, a safe, reliable path back home. And that's a wrap for this edition of Around the Dot. And as we wrap up this episode of WV on the Dot, we want to remind you that your voice matters to us. If you have questions about a project or if there's a topic you want us to dive into on a future episode, follow the West Virginia Department of Transportation on all of our social media channels and throw us those ideas. We have Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and of course, we're here on YouTube. We'll be back next time with more conversations from the engineers, the crews, and the innovators that keep us moving forward. Until then, stay alert in work zones, take pride in your country roads, and we'll see you down the road.